following since July 28th, 2021, and now he unfollowed. My argument has been twofold. One is not just about Maureen Galindo, but just the Democrats in general and how they communicate on certain issues. Never take ownership and condemn someone, because when you condemn someone, you're taking ownership over them. You're saying this is what our side looks like right now, and it looks pretty bad, so I'm just going to condemn them. That's an L. In this current environment, there's no reason to do that. The Republicans never do it. Okay? They never do it unless it's for Israel. Okay? So just remember that. That's number one. Number two, in this current media environment, you should always ask yourself, some guy went on Fox News wearing a mask, creepy shit.
But the world global economy, which
no, that's a real person, dude. He's not wearing a mask. I don't think. I think that's genuine. That's just him. His neck meat looks crazy.
The more everybody comes to realize this is.
He's got nussy. He's got a crazy nussy. Why are you guys fucking doing this, man? Oh my God. Oh my God. Anyway. Dude, I can't deal with this. I've spent the last fucking 13 years of my life actively pushing back against conspiracy theories, only to have my entire community succumb to like more and more insane conspiracy theories. Like, we're not even like joking around anymore. There's like genuinely people who are like, no, he was wearing a fucking mask. Like, that's an alien, dude. A bunch of people actually posted that in the chat before I clicked on it finally. Anyway, as I was saying, like, for example, AOC came out and didn't just condemn Maureen Galindo, but also endorsed the opponent of Maureen Galindo. Just a terrible, terrible, terrible move, okay? And I'll tell you exactly why. Number one, this is the same exact principle behind, Kamala Harris being like, oh, people were being anti-Semitic at the pro-Hamas protests. I condemn that. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. You don't have to say that, okay? You don't have to say that. You can just literally defend the principle of free speech. That's it, okay? You can defend it insincerely or you can defend it sincerely. It doesn't matter. There is no reason for you to literally turn around and be like, oh, I hate these anti-Semitic pro-Palestine protesters. Who is this for? No one on the other side thinks you're pro-Israel, okay? And people on your side hate that you're pro-Israel. So who is it fucking for? Nobody. Okay? And I'm going to go through it. I'm going to go through the AOC statement piece by piece and explain to you why it was an unforced error. Okay? Hold on. Does anyone have the link to the AOC statement with Maureen Galindo? So people are going crazy. They're like, oh my God, Maureen Galindo, she's fucking crazy. She's anti-Semitic. It's true, she is. But even if that's the case, you're not supposed to fucking take ownership over it, okay? Republicans never do. And if you were to actually take ownership over it, you always flip it. You always flip it to the Republicans, okay? Because it's true. Republicans have far, far more insane people that are currently in office right now. Randy Fine is only one example. There are Democrats that are insane, like Maureen Galindo, but just not in the anti-Semitism side, but insane in the pro-Israeli side, okay? Now, the problem is, within polite society, being pro-Israel is unfortunately not seen as a crazy position. It's actually seen as the normal position. People look at you funny in the political sphere if you are anti-Israel. Whereas In the real world, people look at you funny if you're pro-Israel. People are like, what the fuck? What are you? What's going on? You're pro-Israel? That's a little strange. You good? That's the normal attitude. Here the AOC hate comes again. I don't hate Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I defend Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez all the time. Okay? When she does defensible things, I defend it. I always am honest. I call balls and strikes. So, when AOC came out and said, this is absolutely disgusting, this bigoted garbage and anti-Semitism should be nowhere near our politics, even if that is a sincerely held belief, I don't think it's like, I don't think AOC has to say that. I don't think you have to say that, right? Here's why. Because when you say that, no one, and I mean no one, thinks, oh, you're not like that. Okay, I actually have separated you now from the likes of Maureen Galindo. Okay? They don't. The people on the Republican side are actively trying to tie Maureen Galindo to the Democratic Party regardless. They're trying to get her elected. What they fail to comprehend, the Republicans who are, funding her campaign, is that she might actually defeat the Republican in this district. But they're stupid as well, because they're also in this echo chamber when it comes to Israel. They haven't figured out that anti-Israel politics is unbelievably popular. Okay? Now, the reason why I said this is because if you're even going to do that, if you're even going to engage in condemnation, you should just say it like this. I will condemn Maureen Galindo's statements that I disagree with as soon as we censure Randy Fine. And not just censure Randy Fine, but work to expel Randy Fine. And Randy Fine is just one example. That's it. Play ball. Play politics. What are we doing? Why, on the one hand, Randy Fine... why is it that on the one hand, Randy Fine, Andy Ogles, and all these other fucking freaks can say whatever the fuck they want about Muslims, about Islam, and get away with it? But then on the other hand, you have to always come out and swing for the fences and be like, no, we're the good guys. We're the good guys here. It's ridiculous. And the biggest error, in my opinion, was for her to then turn around and endorse Johnny Garcia. Okay? If you're in Texas 35, go vote for Johnny Garcia. Okay? That's ridiculous. You are under no obligation at all to endorse and push for a fucking sheriff that is pro-ICE and also pro-Israel. That's crazy. Like, even if he somehow wins and is a part of this coalition, then that's fine. You're kind of pissing me off. Anti-Semitism is not a negotiation tactic for the cause. We should be principled in general. Man, shut the fuck up. What are you fucking talking about? What the fuck are you talking about, dude? Get the fuck out of here. We're talking about politics, man. We're not talking about you and your friends. We're not talking about how I manage my community. We're talking about people who are movement leaders, people who are political figures, and people who are actively supposed to be defending our rights, defending our interests against a fucking objectively fascist Republican Party. This is not a fucking classroom where Maureen Galindo comes out and says unhinged shit, and you're, of course, going to be like, dude, that's insane. Shut the fuck up, or we're going to expel you, right? That's not the same situation at all. Okay? And for the record, I'm not even endorsing her or her statements. I have been very critical of her statements regardless. Okay? But if you're this critical of someone who's running in the Democratic Party primaries, when already sitting fucking Republican congressmen say just as unhinged shit with regular frequency, you're designing a media environment where, once again, Islamophobia is not only an afterthought, not only permissible, but encouraged, okay? When real violence towards Muslims are happening, both overseas with our tax dollars and our social and political cover, but also the reverberations of said violence and the normalization that obviously takes shape on U.S. soil as well, as we saw in San Diego, okay? Because these two things are interconnected with one another, as opposed to the normalization of damaging rhetoric and the normalization of violent sentiment towards Jewish people, which has institutional stigma. Neither should exist, okay? Neither. But one currently does, and the other is not allowed. So if you're gonna go out of bat, you're gonna get out of your own way. You're gonna go out on a limb here and openly fucking talk about how bad some random fucking kook is in San Antonio. There should be a broader point. Okay, tactically speaking, this is what you should do in every single circumstance, not just for anti-Semitism. Okay, every single circumstance, you're gonna take ownership over someone's attitude and behavior, and the opposition is going to see you as simply lying, regardless. And their takeaway is going to be, oh, they're only saying this because they're lying, and they're only saying this because she is exactly how Democrats are like, right? If that's what the opposition's framing is going to look like in this situation, the least you can do is showcase the hypocrisy. Do politics, please. That's it. If you're going to condemn, because here's the thing. There's no reason for you to fucking go out as a prominent Democratic Party politician on the left flank to just unendorse or unendorsing is different. If you have endorsed someone and they've done this, then yeah, it makes sense that you would unendorse them. But this is a random fucking person. If you're going to go out of your way to be like, oh my God, this person is anti-Semitic, I'm not like that at all. If you're so desperate to once again showcase that you are, a good politician and you care about this, then you have to literally make the opposition look ridiculous in that moment. Because any sort of concession that you make to the opposition, no matter how valid it is, okay, and this is valid, any sort of concession you make to the opposition must come with a cost to the opposition. Okay? That's it. She's not a big player. She's a random person with $11,000 in cash on hand in San fucking Antonio. You know what I mean? I think you should call balls and strikes, but AOC is allowed to condemn anti-Semitism when she sees it. Are you saying that she is to give tacit approval and not just endorse? Maybe not let the crazy voters decide and just stay out of it together. She should have stayed out of it, and you should have stayed out of AOC's decision. Promote the candidates that are sane, progressive, anti-Israel, and not anti-Semitic, says Berkeley Grandma. Berkeley Grandma, I think you literally didn't understand my point. My point is, yes, she doesn't have any obligation whatsoever. She doesn't have any obligation. AOC does not have any obligation to fucking call out random kooks running for office. Okay? There's no reason. All you've done when you come out and say, oh, I'm against this thing, I'm against anti-Semitism in all forms, is basically to show the Republicans that you are for it and you're secretly actually ashamed because you got outed. Okay? That's the current environment that we live in. Right? The current media environment that we live in right now, that we exist in right now, implies that anytime you actually condemn someone that's ostensibly on your side, even if they're not, right, causes the opposition to go, there it is, we got him. We live in a post-Trump universe, okay? We have to play ball. We have to stop pointing to the rule book and going, they're breaking the rules. They're not abiding by the rules, okay? And if you are going to do that, you definitely should be like, look, there's condemnable behavior here, and I'm willing to entertain it after we expel Randy Fine, or at the very least, censure Randy Fine. I think that is good politics. Do you see what I mean? Do you understand? This is the same as like the condom Hamas shit over and over again. Anyway, maybe you guys will disagree with me on this, but this should not be allowed in our party's fucking dumb. Just disavow it on its basis, not attaching yourself to the hip while distancing is a cell phone. Exactly. Because, look, you might disagree with what I'm about to say, but I think in this day and age, I'm of the mindset that condemnations serve as ownership. Okay? If your opposition's framing is what matters in the circumstance because you think you're reaching across the aisle, you're showing them, you're showing your own fans and the broader public in general that like you're not for this, right? If that's your goal, you're not going to serve that purpose at all when you engage in these sorts of condemnations. Okay? Because condemnations imply ownership. It sounds really silly to say it like this, but it's true. Okay? When you turn around and condemn someone, for most people, the way that they see it, because most people are very cynical and they're, ideologically polarized against you, they go, she got outed. Condemnation implies responsibility. You have no responsibility over this person. You have no ownership over this person whatsoever. There's no reason, right? This is not your staffer. This is not your ally. This is not a person that you've endorsed at all. You don't even live in the same state. You're in New York City. No reason to do this, okay? And especially because the people who are demanding the condemnation are oftentimes the people who despise you anyway, okay? It's not coming from your actual support, your actual base. So that's one. Number two, any kind of recognition or any kind of ownership that you take over someone that is ostensibly on your side, or any kind of apology, is perceived as weakness in this rugged terrain. Okay? It's seen as weakness. It's an unforced error every single time you do it. You should only be accountable to your base. You should only be accountable to the people who are riding with you and riding for you. People who might get confused in the process, maybe, who might go, wait a minute, I don't really understand, like, what you're doing here. But you should also never have to concede to your opposition's framing. Kamala Harris did this quite a bit. Democrats do this all the time. And that's part of the reason why Trump is appealing or very successful. He never apologizes. He never condemns. And when people ask him to condemn, he turns around and says, why would I? Democrats are pedophilic monsters. Okay? And last but not least, endorsing the Democratic primary opponent, who is a pro-ICE, pro-Israel sheriff. I mean, that's totally ridiculous. totally ridiculous. Because then you're signaling to people that you would rather, you don't have a problem endorsing people who are pro-Israel. And I think that's totally unacceptable. Condemnation is not just taking ownership, it's accepting the terms that the enemy wants the public debate to be held in. Yes, and we know damn well that these terms are used to justify real atrocities. Libs don't realize that these terms are not only dynamic, but must be forced in our own favor. Yes. Hasan, is Dan Bilzerian a good guy? Fuck no. What are you, insane? Of course not. AOC didn't endorse him? No, she did. She did. So, some principles to always follow through on. If you're, someone who wants to run for politics in the future or whatever, new rules will Bill Maher style rules for you. Always think before you make a statement, who is this message for? Is there an audience for this message? Will this reach a broad enough constituency? Will people be charitable to what I'm saying? Okay? Before you come out and, make statements. Those are the calculations that you should be making. Because, let's be real, that's what Republicans are doing every single time. And that's precisely the reason why they never do any of those things. So sometimes you got to think like a woke and act like a chud. Okay? Republicans are very good at doing politics. Their policies are horrible, but for the most part, their politics are pretty solid. They have to win elections with an objectively shitty and oftentimes objectively violent agenda. And they do. So play by their rules. Don't play by their framing. Because they never play by your framing. People correctly call out Republicans for being unbelievably racist all the time. When has any Republican turned around and been like, you know what? I'm so sorry. This other Republican is racist. Never. They don't do that. You know what they do instead? They have token figures that they prop up just to say, look, how could we be racist? Here is a black Republican that says, I'm not racist. That's how they play politics. And people fucking believe it. It's stupid, but people believe it nonetheless. And then they constantly flip the script and attack the Democrats. I mean, this is the party. This is the party that on the one hand says, oh, I'll have you know the Republicans abolished slavery. Excuse me. And then also in the same breath, defend the Confederacy. These are the people who say, oh, you can't delete Confederate generals. That's our history. That's our heritage. How dare you? And then they say the Democratic Party is the party of the Klan. And it's half the time it's fucking Klansmen that are saying that, Or at the very least, like Klan adjacent politicians. I think a much better response from AOC would be to turn it back around on a higher level like you do, which is, yes, Maureen Galindo is detestable. And yes, exactly what you get when you constantly push anti-Zionism, anti-Semitism is equal, unacceptable, unlike Islamophobia in the body politique. Use it to pivot, reinforcing good takeaways, not just this is bad and I refuse to explain. Yeah. No, 100%. There are many takeaways from this story. One is, hey, if you don't want some fucking kooky ass person who's saying, Jews control Hollywood or the banking system to be a viable candidate in the Democratic primaries, run better fucking Democrats who are the actual anti-Israel Democrats. Because clearly people want that. People want someone to say, fuck Israel. Okay? People want someone to say fuck Israel. So the Democrats have an option. Either they actually become the anti-Israel party, or they just constantly try to find the perfect messenger for it that still is saying pro-Israel things, but also still like kind of trying to gain legitimacy as an Israel critic. There's also one other thing that happened. I mean, being evil IRL prepare you to play politics because you have to navigate the world while hiding your beliefs. But look, this is what it is, though. For people that really love AOC and don't understand why people criticize her all the time, it's this type of counter signaling that she does that cause people to think like, oh, she's not with it. She's not with the cause. And yes, this kind of stuff actually is far more consequential in the media environment than her actual legislative actions. I don't agree with that idea, and I will always correct the record, and I will always show her legislative performance that is cut above the overwhelming majority of Congress, right? And even the times when she is actually leading the pack with her comms as well on this issue, right? Calling what Israel's doing a genocide far before, three other, with the exception of like 2 or 3 other congresspersons, AOC called Israel a genocide far before any congressperson ever did, and many still don't, right? But this, to me, is another problem with like bad instincts. This is called the friend-enemy distinction, and this is how politics begins to look during a fascist epoch. Yeah, because we are in that. We are fighting against fascists. Okay? We're fighting against the forces of fascism in this country right now. So we have to be a little bit more vicious. Oh no, Dave Weigel saw it. Haven't seen anyone else point this out and criticize this. AOC endorsed a police officer who, if he gets to Congress, will likely vote more with Cuellar than her. Oh no, now I've also gotten into the anti-AOC media cycle. Why are we glossing over the fact that AOC conflated Zionism with Judaism to make this statement? Guys, come on, man. Come on. Stop with this fucking bullshit, okay? Stop with this bullshit. Maureen Galindo said she wants to castrate Zionist billionaires, okay? That's fine. That statement in and of itself doesn't just imply fucking, Zionists, okay? What are we doing? Like, there are certain instances where someone is using Zionism as a fucking substitute term for Jews, okay? Are you guys fucking serious? Like, what are we doing? She has also literally said, like, Jews control Hollywood, Jews control the media. Like, and she knows that was fucked up to say because she has also backtracked from that statement now. So what are we doing? I'm willing to chalk that up to someone just not being experienced, someone not being very well educated, someone who was maybe fallen victim to, Instagram reel style conspiracies and shit like that. But if you're a fucking serious politician, you can't be out there endorsing sentiments like that, okay? If you're even a serious political commentator, you can't be out there being like, well, actually, this is what she meant. Like, you're being fucking ridiculous. There's a limit to it, okay? Yes. Stop. It almost reminds me of the people who always do this argument where it's like, well, actually, Semite means Arabic people as well. It's like, come on, dude. Live in the fucking real world, please. Your Ben Shapiro and the reactionary left is growing. Yeah, the difference between Ben Shapiro and I is that I've never been a fucking loyal servant of any party. Okay? And the reality of the matter is, most people have finally found themselves coming close to my conclusions. I've always had to be alone in the fucking sidelines by myself for the most part. I mean, obviously not fully alone. There are other people that are, that have been around as well. But let's be real. I've never compromised on my fucking values. I believe what I believe, and I will always defend it. I will always tell you the fucking truth. It's very frustrating. One of the most frustrating things that I always have to deal with is when people assume that I'm saying something with ulterior motives, right? AOC did this to erase the she's not a real Democrat argument. She's trying to show she's a Democratic team player. We might not like it, but center-left libs will give her credit. This was not for us. It was for the Dem primary voters. It's just like working tirelessly for a ceasefire line. It won her points with partisan Dems. Yeah, but that's lying. And you don't have to lie to win over members of your own fucking party. You have to win. That's it. Don't do this. This isn't for us shit. Because what you're doing in that situation is literally giving credit to someone being insincere. Okay, what's the length? What's the extent of how much she should do things not for us? Because it's not for us. It's just being truthful, being having moral convictions. Now we've moved beyond the Maureen Galindo conversation, by the way, just so you guys understand, because I'm not, saying this about her statements about Maureen Galindo, but like the working tirelessly for a ceasefire thing that she said that was objectively untrue. Should she have never actually come out and called what Israel's doing a genocide at a time when it was actually unfavorable for her to do so? Because when she came out and said Israel's doing a genocide on the fucking floor of Congress, when she said that, she was one of the first to do it in such a public setting. She was certainly ahead of Bernie, right? By a year. She was one of the first 3 or maybe 4 congresspersons that actually came out and said it, right? Should she have done that? AOC's called Israel an apartheid state since 2021. Should she have done that? She shouldn't have done that if she's only making these political calculations. It's moments like that that I actually pay attention to and actually give AOC credit for. Sometimes you have to be alone. And you're never fully alone regardless. You have your base. You have your fighters. You have people on your side. And on this issue, you definitely don't have to. Yeah, I know. Greenblatt went on MS Now to cry about me again. I got it right here. Let's take a look.
There is an epidemic of anti-Semitism that has overtaken this country. You see it on both sides. Tucker Carlson and Hasan Piker. You have congressional candidates saying horrible things. Hate is a disease that will ultimately kill all of us. That's why we speak out, and that's why we're trying to push for...
Dude, everything he does is hateful. He defends Israel. That's the most hateful thing you can do. God, what an asshole.
Change. So I should just point out, we're pushing for something that was proposed just this week in Congress by Senators Langford and Rosen, the Jewish American Security Act, that would increase funding to provide security grants to all houses of worship, whether you're a synagogue or a mosque or a church. No one should be able to assail the people inside.
And Congressman Moskowitz was on our show earlier this week.
Right.
And he released a series of...
Yeah, by the way, Gottheimer and fucking Josh Gottheimer and Jared Moskowitz both came out with statements against Maureen Galindo. Okay, they said if for some reason Maureen Galindo wins the congressional election in Texas 35, as soon as she's sworn in, we will force a vote to expel her every single day that we're here. Do it for fucking Randy Fine, you son of a bitch. You will never do that for Randy Fine, though, because you agree with him. Okay? That's the rub. That's the real secret here, which is not such a secret at all, is that both of these motherfuckers actually agree with Randy Fine on all the unhinged shit that Randy Fine says. So they will never actually fucking vote to expel Randy Fine. Randy Fine is a Republican. He's on the opposing side. That's my point. Anti-Semitism and Islamophobia are both dangerous bigotries. Okay? But one has institutional stigma, anti-Semitism does. The other has institutional permission. The other is actually rewarded. Islamophobia is rewarded. Fuck you, pray to a carpet. Okay, take a week off, man.
Truly hateful messages, voicemails that he received, very anti-Semitic and disgusting. It does seem like, I mean, violent acts are, of course, the extreme of this, but there also seems to be almost a permission structure in place where people feel like they can say things now, whether it's online or in this case in voicemails, that even 10.
By the way, this is also a little crazy. Like, we're talking about combating hatred in America, where they brought in a vicious Islamophobe like Jonathan Greenblatt on the MS Now to talk about like the dangers of anti-Semitism. Like, he's using the mosque shooting that just took place as a way to once again fund his own institution, which actually churns out a decent amount of anti-Semitic sentiment and also Islamophobic sentiment as well.
15, 20, 30 years ago, they wouldn't have.
I mean,
why is that?
Well, I think social media has coarsened the conversation and numbed us, right? People feel like they can say or do anything. But there's something really important what you're saying. People in power, leaders need to lead. Like here in New York, we've had people like coming up to synagogues with Hezbollah and Hamas flags, and our mayor isn't calling that out. Look, you've got to call out hate wherever it happens, but especially on our own side. When again, people on the left call out Jews or attack other people,
Yeah. Brings me up. Muslim guy is a fucking an example of like anti-Semitism, and then turns around and implies Muslim mayor of New York is also an anti-Semite. Very cool. Thank you for talking about, stopping all forms of hate, Jonathan fucking Greenblatt. Wow.
leaders on the left need to call it out, just like we need leaders on the right to show a degree of dignity and call out that kind of hate.
Right.
I really appreciated your last guest, Matthew Bartlett, what he was saying about January the 6th. Mm-hmm. There were people rampaging through that building wearing sweatshirts that said 6 MWE, 6 million wasn't enough. Like, who can say that these people were heroes or patriots?
Oh, damn. You're going to call out Trump for giving that guy maybe upwards of a couple $1 million? It's true. Those were Republicans. There was a Republican who literally had a Holocaust supporting Holocaust supporting sweatshirt when he did January 6th. Donald Trump got him out of prison, and Donald Trump now is creating a slush fund for him and everyone else that they can apply to get millions of dollars back from taxpayers.
So all of us need to call out hate, and we don't get to pick and choose Nazi symbols, Hamas symbols. Hate is hate, and it needs to be condemned.
Yeah. Also, this is like, once again, a way to, can we pause talking about how incompetent the Democratic Party is for a second and talk about the motherland Türkiye? Kılıçdaroğlu CHP'nin başına geldi. Mutlak buğuları olarak Erdoğan dolar Ezevlerini eritti. İkinci bir darbe vakası yaşanıyor. I know you're busy with trashy American politics. It'd be nice to hear a commentary on that. Trump bile telefonda görüşmüş hemen öncesinde bazı kaynaklara göre. What? There's been a coup or something in Turkey? I didn't know that. I have no idea what happened.
We
I'll look
helped
into it. Bakarım.
secure a $30 million increase for the nonprofit security grant program for the fiscal year 2026. That funding is critical. It supports the security cameras outside of your synagogue, the trained guard at the JCC door, the reinforced entrance at your day school. But we're not done. Right now, we are calling on Congress to fund the program at $1 billion because demand continues to outpace the funding, leaving thousands of applicants without the support that they need. Now, you heard mention of buffer zone legislation in New York City and a push for a federal version. The Sacred Act would establish a 100-foot safe access zone around houses of worship nationwide, protecting people for the right to pray without being blocked, harassed, or intimidated at the door. We're urging Congress to pass it now. We're also taking this fight into the corporate arena. Our affiliate, JLens, has filed shareholder proposals pushing for accountability on anti-Semitism and hate at major platforms like Meta, and has already drawn significant investor support.
Oh my fucking God, dude. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Brad Lander memory clip is not a thing I ever expected to see.
Is a desecration.
New York Democratic congressional candidate Brad Lander recites Quran verse at Queen's Mosque as he hopes to partner in Congress with Ilhan Omar and Rashid Tlaib. Imam prays for Mahdi to kill infidels with his sword.
I believe, as
what?
a proud Jewish New Yorker, that Israel's genocide in Gaza is a desecration, is a violation of the understanding that everyone is created in God's image. Every one of those Palestinian kids in Gaza, just as divine as my beloved children. And so, yes, in Congress, I will not vote for any more U.S. military aid to Israel, not the bombs that are destroying the hospitals and schools in Gaza, not the occupation in Lebanon, which is now, I believe, unfortunately, on its way potentially to being a genocide as well. Kind of partnership I developed with Soran, I hope to come to have with Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and others in Congress to show we can build a city and a country and a world that everyone can afford and where everyone is welcome and where everyone's humanity is respected. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
No. Wait. No. Brad. No. First of all, it's so funny because he's saying it like he's doing a Jewish prayer, like phonetically. And not only that, but you can still hear his accent, his New York accent.
Allahu Ahad, Allahu Samad, Lam Yalid wa Lam Yulad wa Lam Yakul lahu Kufuwan Ahad.
Wait, was this Hebrew? Or was this Arabic? I can't tell if that's Hebrew, right? Wait, what the fuck? What just happened? Did he recite the surah in Arabic? Because I know this is a surah, but is he saying it in Arabic? I can't tell.
Samad, Lam Yalid wa Lam Yulad wa Lam Yakul lahu Kufuwan Ahad.
What? Bro. This is Fatiha, you infidel. Bro, I'm sorry. How can you understand what he's saying? Like, And I don't even think this is.
Allahu Ahad, Allah
No, it's not Fatiha, but it's a. Wait.
Samad, Lam Yalid wa Lam Yulad wa Lam Yakun.
Okay, am I crazy? The way he's reading it, it sounds like he's doing a Jewish prayer. No, like it's Surah Al-Ikhlas. Some doctor you are? Okay, here. This is what it sounds like.
الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد.
I like Brad's more. Yeah, he had turned it into like almost like a Jewish prayer. Yeah, I saw this. The American professor Richard Mortal, after learning Arabic, I firmly believe that the Arabic language is superior to any other language, and I do not accept debate on this matter.
نحن مسلمون. الله سبحانه وتعالى قال في أكثر من آية كريمة قرآنا عربيا.
Wait, what? Dude. Okay, this is kind of interesting because I've never, like, obviously I don't speak Arabic, right? And all the chatters who do always make fun of me when I say certain religious verses in my understanding, in the way that I learned it, because it has a Turkish accent to it. And it's really funny because chatters will always make fun of me for saying like, you know, Arabic surahs or whatever, but with a Turkish accent. And now I'm picking up on it when other people have accents and they try to speak Arabic, I'm hearing it.
Thank you very much for welcoming me today.
Yes, it's broken Arabic with Jewish style of recitation, I guess, is cute, but Brad doesn't need to go that far, lol. I mean, he went there. This is our favorite reading of that.
قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد.
Dude, we've reached new lengths now. We've actually, he should have just said the Shahada. Someone should have duped him into reciting the Shahada. That would have been funny. Imagine. Oh man. Brad saw this poll and said anything goes. Yeah. I've never seen someone. By the way, yeah, Emerson came out with a bunch of New York polls. We're going to talk about that. I've never seen someone who's an incumbent get this fucking cumstered and dumpstered. Okay? It's actually insane. Jewish Voters Resource Center, Jewish Voters Survey. Which of the following statements better describes why you could not support a candidate if they disagree with you on Israel? Israel is not a deal breaker, 83%. I could not support a candidate who I cannot support a candidate who I view as insufficiently supportive of Israel, 13%. I cannot support a candidate who I view as supporting bad conduct by the Netanyahu government, 4%. Israel is not a deal breaker issue. Wow. All I'm going to say is Hasanabi thought vindicated. Okay? Hasanabi thought vindicated. That is the worst poll question I've ever read. It doesn't matter. Israel is not a deal breaker issue at 83% shows American Jews, and this might come as a surprise to some, maybe Jake Tapper and many others in the media, but American Jews are American, okay? They got American problems, okay? They got American problems. They worry about American shit, okay? That's what the fuck they care about. They don't care about genocide. That is not the fucking reading here. No, you're wrong. The point is, only 13% of Jews, when asked, say Israel is a deal breaker. It's like a high priority. This was literally my fucking argument about Zoran Mamdani. Okay? My argument for why many American Jews voted for Zoran Mamdani was, even if some of them actually cared about Israel quite a bit, they still are American Jews who care about American shit. Isn't a deal breaker something they cannot support? There's an oft-repeated truism that most American Jews are pro-Israel, anti-Netanyahu. Today's poll shows that nearly 1 out of 4 American Jews do not support Israel as a Jewish state. In other words, are not recognizably Zionist. It's well past time to rethink our assumptions. It's very frustrating for someone like myself because not only am I combating the forces, the ultra-Zionist forces in America, and Jewish institutions that specifically try to desperately tie back Judaism and Zionism and will say all Jews care about is Israel. How dare you fucking criticize Israel? You're criticizing Jews. But I'm also combating the forces on the anti-Zionist side at times that have also taken that framing hook, line, and sinker that go, you know what? They've said this too many times, so I'm choosing to believe it. So fuck it. Okay? No charity from either side, mind you. The anti-Zionist side goes, why the fuck do you care about this shit so much? They keep saying over and over again, every single, and this is true, virtually every single Jewish institution, with the exceptions that are either like Yiddish institutions of learning or anti-Zionist Jewish institutions like JVP and whatnot, are openly saying they're pro-Israel all the fucking time in broad daylight, non-fucking stop. And it goes beyond that, where they not only do that, but then they also say if you actually fucking criticize Israel, if you protest a settler fair that's taking place, that's an illegal act, it's an illegal land sale that is illegally stolen land in occupied Palestinian territory, and people protest that, you're being anti-Semitic. %83 of Jews, whether they're pro-Israel or anti-Israel, say, as an American Jew, I care about American shit. That's what this means. Okay? That's what this means. It's literally something I've said over and over again. This is, once again, proof of the same thing that I keep repeating. And I don't say this to be like, oh, I'm only saying this because like I have to be a loyal lapdog of Zionism or whatever. I'm saying this because it's true. Even people who are fucking pro-Israel, why are you defending Israel again? See, this is what I mean. I have to deal with this shit all the time, dude. Some of you have unironically become Nick Fuentes enjoyers, man. This is crazy. I understand how important of an issue this is, and I understand how impactful of an issue this is, and how emotional of an issue this is, that like you see all this death, you see all this destruction, and then you see institutions, places of worship, openly defend this kind of atrocity, and it breaks your fucking brain. But just please, dude, snap the fuck out of it. Combating anti-Semitism is not defending Israel. Fuck. amongst Jews that were asked in this 83%, there are pro-Israel Jews. Bro, admit you're deep state Mossad CIA, Islamist commie sheepdog with a billionaire dad. Yes, it's true. All of it. Amongst this 83%, okay, amongst this 83%, there are, of course, Jews that are pro-Israel. But even Jews that are pro-Israel are like, I'm an American Jew. I care about American shit. It's not a fucking deal breaker. I will still, I will still support. I will still support a politician if they're fucking, anti-Israel. It doesn't matter to me. If they got a bunch of other shit that I care about, if they're defending a bunch of other shit that I care about, then I'll support them. I will just never fucking agree with Jonathan Greenblatt, man. That's it. It's that's it. Because Jonathan Greenblatt and Nick Fuentes agree with one another. They agree with one another. All Jews care about is Israel. That's what they both say. So why the fuck are you, an anti-Zionist, agreeing with both a Zionist who is the number one dick rider of Israel and a Nazi who always uses anti-Zionism as a way to fucking keep fomenting anti-Semitism? These are some of the worst fucking people in American society, and you find yourself in agreement with them. I am not going to do that. This doesn't mean I don't factor in the reality that, of course, people are going to hear what Jewish institutions are saying and learn the wrong lessons out of that. But even in a moment where there's like very clear evidence that even pro-Israel Jews don't give a fuck, it's not a deal breaker for them if someone is an anti-Zionist or anti-Israel, and they will still vote for someone who's anti-Zionist or anti-Israel. It's not a fucking deal breaker for them at all. 83% of them say this. You're still going, nah, they're actually faking it? Like, what's the argument? They're faking it? They came up with this so they can fool you? Do you see where that goes? Do you understand? Do you understand how many leaps of faith you need to take to justify, to confirm your previous biases? And at some point, you have to realize, like, you're literally implying that they're doing fucking takia. Let me tell you something, okay? If there's one group of people that don't have to fucking hide their opinion on Israel and how much they love Israel, it's American Jews, okay? They certainly don't. The ones who love Israel and make it their top priority never shut the fuck up. So what leads you to believe that American Jews who aren't constantly hysterically fucking foaming out of their mouths about how like Israel is under attack and this is anti-Semitism, what makes you think that all Jews actually feel that way? Now you're the one who's fucking, diving off the deep end of insane conspiracy theories. Seems like way more of a LA thing. No, I mean, there's people everywhere. Maybe part of it, like part of my attitude is because like I know more anti-Zionist Jews than I know Zionist Jews. I know some Zionist Jews, but I know mostly anti-Zionist Jews. These are like most of my close friends happen to be anti-Zionist Jews. And plenty of them are on this fucking stream all the goddamn time. And some of them even say way more unhinged shit than I do. Let's be real. Is that the majority, though? It's not, but it doesn't fucking matter. What are you talking about? Dude, what are we talking about? Majority or not, what difference does it fucking make? It's the majority, probably at this point, for those under the age of 35, but what fucking difference does it make? What difference does it make? Even if it was every single Jewish person that's like saying my top priority is Israel. Like, what difference would that make? Would that change your calculation? Would you still not say fuck Israel? I would. I would still continue saying it, right? Because it's the truth. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't place any emphasis on what percentage of people believe whatever the fuck they believe. It is meaningless. Whether we're the majority or currently or not is unimportant. We're making progress and we're on the righteous path. That's all we need. And also, whether anti-Zionist Jews are the majority or not amongst Jews, as far as like the way they view Israel, is also completely immaterial to whether or not Israel's a fucking apartheid state or not. That's my argument. And that's precisely the reason why people call me a fucking anti-Semite all the time. Okay? Insincerely, but it doesn't matter. Do you not understand? What matters is the fucking truth. Israel is doing a genocide. Okay? Israel's doing a genocide. Israel's an apartheid state. Israel is a fascist state. Zionism is a fascist ideology. Eventually, everyone will come to that conclusion. Just say the truth and move on. Try to convince people. Is this productive? Is the question. Anyway. All right. New Emerson poll shows who's leading in the Democratic primaries. Let's take a look.
All right. On this Thursday, Pix 11 has brand new exclusive polling for you on the 3 most hotly contested congressional primaries in New York City. We've been watching these races very carefully with Election Day just about a month away at this point. Joining us this morning is political correspondent Henry Rossoff to break down these very important numbers. Henry, good morning.
Good morning, Vanessa. Great to be here with you. So all these districts are deep blue Democratic dominated districts. So what does that mean? Well, the Democratic primary winner almost certainly likely to end up in Congress when the general election happens in November. We've got tight races in 2 of the 3 districts we're watching. Let's begin in New York.
This one is so disappointing. New York 12 Democratic primary is so unbelievably fucking disappointing. Okay? I don't know what the hell happened to Jack Schlossberg. By the way, he was at the top of this. There was a real opportunity. Cam Caskey was running here, but he was like, fuck this. I can't do this. I'm not, capable of fundraising here. And he was just like, he wanted to work in activism instead. Right? And now, and he was a straight up real one. He was a full tilt anti-Zionist, Cam Caskey, and he still is. But now you got Michael Asher and Alex Boras and Jack Schlossberg and fucking George Conway. George Conway is Kellyanne Conway's husband, Rhino, never Trump, Republican. But you know what's really fucking annoying about this race? If Alex Boras came out and was like, yo, this Israel stuff, I'm out. Fuck this. He would literally put LeBron numbers up on the board. This is a very Jewish district, for the record. This is the outbound Democrat here is what's his face? The old guy. I'm forgetting his name now. His name escapes me. But he's retiring. Nadler, Jerry Nadler. Thank you, chatters. So here's the thing. Michael Asher is Jerry Nadler's own hand-selected pick for this race. But what's interesting is Michael Asher is literally more pro-Israel than Jerry Nadler is. Okay? Nadler was less pro-Israel than fucking Michael Asher is. How is that possible? And because it's his district and Micah is his guy, he's currently in the lead. Alex Boras is actually fine. He's not as bad. I would Like out of all of these guys, I would say he is probably a cut above. The issue is he also is Alex, that guy that's